We're going to talk about something pretty uncontroversial right at the beginning, which is voting and how to vote. This is going to be geared for how to vote in Jefferson County in Texas. And so some of the details, specific details in here might not be accurate for wherever you're watching this from. But these details for how to vote and how to go about voting, these details are going to be specific to Jefferson County in Texas. Early voting in Jefferson County starts October 21st and ends on November 1st. You can get all of the different locations. You can get like a sample guide and all that kind of stuff, and like what times each location is going to be available during early voting. You can get all that information at jeffersonelections.com, or you can do command vote in the chat, and that'll give you the jeffersonelections.com link. Early voting is October 21st through November 1st. And then election day is Tuesday, November 5th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You want to make sure that you get to the polls within that time frame, because they will close the doors. Even if, oftentimes there will be a line outside of the building at 7 p.m. and they will close the doors on you. So I would strongly advise getting there early if you are planning on voting on election day. But certainly it makes things a little bit easier on your awesome, like Ham Solo, who's probably not in chat right now. But Ham is an election worker, and it certainly makes it easier on them if you can go to early voting. Voting registration ends in Jefferson County in Texas on October 7th. So that is not this coming Monday, but next Monday. You need to be registered to vote if you are not already by that point. You can check to see if you're registered to vote at votetexas.gov, or you can figure out how to register to vote if you are not already registered by going to votetexas.gov, or you can do command register in the chat like Cameron is doing. Whenever you go to vote, you will need to have one of these forms of ID. These are the acceptable forms of ID in Jefferson County in Texas, like your driver's license, pretty standard, or like a passport if you don't have a driver's license. Whenever you get to the polling location, you will not be able to have your phone out inside of the polling location. You can have your phone out outside, but you won't be able to have it out inside. So we're going to go through a lot of information in this guide. We're going to go through a lot of information on all the different candidates, and there's going to be a lot of candidates. So you might not be able to remember everybody that you want to vote for in every single election. If you can't, you want to make sure that you write that down on a slip of paper, or like what I do is I'll print out the sample ballot and I'll fill out the sample ballot and I'll bring that with me. You're allowed to do that. But you are not allowed, in Texas, you are not allowed to have your phone out inside the polling location. So you won't be able to store that information on your phone. That is a really important rule that lots of people have gotten in trouble over. So this is what your sample ballot is going to look like. Well, this is what your ballot is going to look like. This is a sample ballot. You can find this sample ballot on jeffersonelections.com. Here it is. This is, you can see all the different candidates here on your sample ballot. It'll give you like a little how to fill it out and stuff like that. But it'll give you like president and then U.S. senator and then U.S. representative for District 14. And it'll go all the way over for all the way down to like, this is Jefferson County Sheriff. It'll get more and more local the further you go through it. We are going to be following the order that is present on the ballot. As we go throughout this guide, we're going to be talking about every candidate that is up for election that is contested on this ballot. Which is going to take a hot minute, so settle in. We are doing not all of these candidates. These are all the candidates that are on the ballot. This is a ton of candidates. We are going to be doing all of these candidates, slightly less, because a lot of those elections are uncontested. People like our local Texas our local Texas House of Representative Dade Phelan is running uncontested in his election, and so you'll see like Texas House of Representatives Representative Dade Phelan on there, but he won't have any other name, and so you can only select Dade Phelan's name or not. But he will definitely win that election since he's not contested. These are all the different elections that are contested on the federal level, the state level, and the Jefferson County level. If you are in Bevel Oaks or Groves locally, you have a couple of city elections. You're going to have to do that work on your own, because that's too specific. We already are covering way too much in this guide. And so I'm not going to talk about the specific city elections that are happening in Bevel Oaks and Groves, but some of them are like pretty important. Like, it's like city council members and like the mayor, I think, of Groves is on the ballot. So you want to go and check those out. But whenever you go in to vote, you will, like, if I'm not registered to vote in Groves, I won't get those options on my ballot whenever it comes in. And then there is a special Proposition A election for Beaumont ISD on the ballot as well. And we're going to be talking about what that means. Whenever you go to vote, you will arrive at the polling location, and you'll give the election worker your ID, and you'll tell them your name. They'll pull you up in the system and confirm you, and then they will give you one of these ballots. In Texas, they give you 3 paper ballots. Again, all of this is specific for Jefferson County in Texas. They're going to give you 3 separate paper ballots. You pick one at random, and then you take that ballot and you walk it over to the machine. And on the right side of the machine is going to be a little slot that you insert your ballot into, and it'll get sucked up into the machine. And the machine will like read whatever special code is on it that is specific to you. And then it'll come up on the screen a digital form of your ballot. And so you'll get to go through on the screen and fill in all the little bubbles for all of the different candidates all the way through your ballot. Then you'll click finish, and it will print your choices onto your physical paper ballot inside the machine, and it'll spit that back out. You have to remember to take that ballot and go deposit it at the receptacle near the exit. If you do not, just clicking the bubbles on the machine is not voting. Your ballot will not be counted if you do not take it to the receptacle near the exit and put it in the receptacle. Sometimes it's like a machine that you put it into, but sometimes it's just like a tray. So, you'll see near the exit. You'll definitely be able to figure it out whenever you get there. And like I said, these are going to be all the candidates that are on it. These are the only ones we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about 4 federal elections for president and vice president. For our Texas U.S. Senator, that's between Ted Cruz and Colin Allred. That's a really important election. We're going to be talking about both the elections for U.S. Representative for District 14 and for District 36. Depending on where you're registered to vote, you will only get on your ballot District 14 or District 36. The boundary line is like right through the middle of Beaumont. So if you're like in South Beaumont or live south and kind of like east or kind of like west of Beaumont, that's going to be District 36. And then North Beaumont, that's all District 14. So depending on where you're registered to vote, that's what you're going to get on your ballot. Then we have 7 different state elections. Railroad Commissioner, Christy Craddock is our current Railroad Commissioner in Texas. And we're going to be talking a lot about Christy Craddock because that's another really important election. But then we have 6 different judicial elections in Texas. In Texas, we have basically like 2 Supreme Courts. We have the Supreme Court, which sees civil cases. Then we have the Court of Criminal Appeals, which sees criminal cases. And so there are 3 justices on the Texas Supreme Court up for election. We're going to be talking about all of those. And then 3 judges on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. We're going to be talking about those. And then in Jefferson County, there are 4 elections. Technically, there's only 3 contested elections. Sheriff, County Tax Assessor Collector, and Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1, Place 1. But there's a special writing candidate for County Commissioner for Precinct 1 that I like a lot. So we're going to be talking about that writing candidate just for a little bit. And then the last thing will be a little special portion on your ballot for BISD Proposition A, which has to do with like taxes and stuff.